Katie Freeman of Freeman Furnishings, and today I'm going to walk you through just a quick little project, a beginner project for some power carving. Alright, so all of these tools are pretty accessible and reasonably priced, so they should all be things that you can get access to. What I'm going to be working on carving and step you through is we're going to do just a hollow dish out of this piece of walnut here. You can see it's about 1.5 inches thick, so I'll make a nice little centerpiece dish or fruit bowl for your table. So first, let's talk about safety gear. First of all, you want some kind of dust mask to keep from breathing in all of the dust particles as you're carving. Power carving creates a lot of dust, trust me. So you will definitely want a dust mask. This is just an RZ mask, but you can also use an N95 mask from any Home Depot, Lowe's, any big box store like that. I'm going to be wearing some of these firm grip fingerless gloves. I've done power carving a lot without any gloves, but I have found that this helps reduce the vibration and any strain put on my forearms from using the angle grinder. Next, I'm going to have a pair of safety glasses to wear. I do have a face shield that I wear on occasion, but this type of power carving doesn't produce too much that gets up in your face, so just some regular safety glasses should do. And then I'm going to have some hearing protection. So now that we have talked safety gear, let's talk about what we're going to be using to actually do the carving. So first of all, you need a hard surface to use to set your stuff up on. So I've got this Works Pegasus workbench. I like using this because there are these clamps that can slide into these built-in slots, and you can hold the piece pretty steady and sturdy while you're carving. So those work out great. Then I've got just an angle grinder here. This is a 4.5 inch angle grinder. It is Milwaukee brand. You can use pretty much any brand you want to use, but I have found for my smaller hands that I really like the Milwaukee. All right, so you have an angle grinder here, and then I'm going to be working through a series of discs. So I'm going to start with this extreme coarse disc to do the initial rough shaping of the piece. These are Kutzall, and I will make sure in the video I'll be putting down, kind of below all the different links so you can find all of this stuff. Now, these next two, so this is extreme coarse, and this is medium, and this is fine. Think of them like grit-wise, like sandpaper. So basically, you're power sanding with these type of things. I'm going to do the carving with these tools because they're really easy to use for a beginner. I do have other tools that I use, but those take a little bit more practice to get used to, so I thought I would start with these for this very beginner level power carving demonstration. All right, so I'm going to get this all set up so you can see how I set it up to hold it in place. All right, and then we will get to carving. All right, so what I'm working with here is the brand is Works, and the bench is called a Pegasus workbench, and it has these really nice clamps that slide into the slots built on the table. And then I'm just using wood crossbars to help clamp this kind of funky shape, and it works really nice to hold it firmly in place, which you want to make sure you do when you're going to carve. Okay, now when it comes to carving, you will know, so I'm right-handed, so I've got the handle of the angle grinder coming off to the left, so my left hand is holding it and my right hand is holding the main angle grinder. But if you are left-handed, you can totally switch the handle. It comes off and you can switch around to the other side. Either way, you will notice that the way that I use the angle grinder predominantly, I am pushing forward. If I'm trying to do a fine line, like I'm trying to create the lip of this platter, then I'm doing a pull type motion with it. But for the most part, I'm going to be pushing these Kutzall blades in order to dish out
the wood. I would also like to point out that as much as possible, I try to hold the angle grinder close to my body and make movements with my full body. This helps reduce any stress and strain on my muscles. I want to state again how important it is to make sure that whatever piece of wood you are carving on is clamped firmly in place, because if it is not, then the carving disc can grab hold of the grain and it can fling the wood even just off the workbench or into your body, and depending on how heavy that piece of wood is, that definitely can injure you. So if you don't have one of these nice workbenches with the built-in clamps, then you can always clamp the piece more like this, where I've got the crossbar holding the piece down and then doing the carving. Also, kind of the order of operations whenever you're carving, whether it be a platter like this, or if you're going to carve a bowl or anything that's going to have like an inside and outside to it, it is best, so that you get the best clamping surface for as long as possible, it is best to do as much of the inside first before you move on to doing the outside, because you want as much, I guess, meat left on the bones on the outside for clamping for as long as possible. This is the coarse grit of the 3 carving discs. So you'll see I'm just carving to get that rough shape. I'm not worried right now about it being super even. That I'm going to start doing with the finer grits as I move down in blades. And really, you can definitely sketch out and lay out your designs in advance. I am kind of one of those makers that really doesn't tend to do that. I have a general idea of what I'm going for when I get started, but I definitely don't have it down to the T of what I'm looking for. Just because mainly when you start carving, sometimes you find like a really cool pocket of wood and you want to highlight that, and you might not have even known that existed before you started carving. Alright, so now I've moved on to the medium grit of the carving discs. After I did all of the rough shaping work with the coarse grit, and with the medium grit, what I'm starting to do is to even out the surface to get it smoother. Again, it's not going to get to perfect necessarily with the medium grit. That's why you kind of work your way through the coarse, medium, and fine, just like when you're sanding. And note again, even with the medium disc and with when I switch over to the fine disc as well, I'm still for the majority of the time pushing the tool as I work to remove the material. Now, after I've worked my way through the coarse, medium, and fine carving discs, I am going to start sanding. For the most part, with the carving discs, I've gotten everything leveled out and smooth, but there can be some minor cleanup work that you still have to do with the sander. Now, the orbital sander is not actually ideal. You can actually sand it by hand if you want. It's going to take longer, but they do make a variety of different tools for sanding curved surfaces. The orbital sander is not ideal, but it will work so that you don't have to buy another new tool in order to do this type of project. And I am going to work all the way up to 320 grit. Like I stated at the start, power carving is a pretty messy business, and so you're going to have a lot of sawdust to clean up. So, it's been carved, it's been sanded up to 320 grit, and now it's time to put some finish on it. But before, need a little bit of celebratory beer. That sound. Especially after hot, sweaty work of carving and sanding. Alright. I have decided that the finish I'm going to put on is Danish oil finish. Find it in any big box store. Key is to, again, safety first. Make sure you have some gloves. You don't want to get this stuff on your skin, trust me. It's not fun. So the directions on the bottle, what they say, or on the can, is just with a rag, you're going to apply a healthy amount of oil. And you're going to let it sit for 15 minutes. I'm sorry, I think longer than that. Now I need to make the can. Allow it to penetrate for 30 minutes. Okay, so first penetration is 30 minutes. So again, helping out. I've got a towel underneath just so my bench doesn't get crazy. Ooh-wee. Look at that pretty walnuts. Oh yeah. Wedges. You want to keep applying it and putting on quite a bit until no more seems to be soaking in. Because of the way of the grain, especially since this platter has so much end grain in it, a lot of it is going to keep soaking in. So keep going until no more is soaking in. Alright, so I'm going to allow 30 minutes for that to soak in, to simmer, if you will. That'll give me plenty of time to finish off this beer and fall into the shower. Alright, thanks so much guys for following along with the video on this beginner power carving lesson, how to carve a platter. This one was out of walnuts, as you've been with me along this journey. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you aren't subscribed already, please hit subscribe and the bell so you get notifications when I have a new video out. And I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm definitely happy to help as you get started on your power carving journey. All right, see you guys later.